Fashion forward to something special. Without a doubt, one of the coolest elements of modern Tsugaru style is the creative freedom allowed for, personal expression. None shows this more so than the top of our spear, as it were, the Itomaki. With modern shamisen styles, new kinds of Itomaki are made to give, a little flair and artistic expression. As it turns out, Tokiwagaki makes 95% of all Itomaki in Japan. Twisted rasen, the star-shaped chamfered type, all the acrylics with the gradient colors and such, they do them all. They even have a style made in the shape of a cherry blossom. All of these Itomaki are incredible, and I find that in a way the Itomaki is a celebration of the craftsmanship. However, I noticed that never yet before done has a shamisen Itomaki been made where the Itomaki itself is a celebration of the wood. Personally, I love the deep, swirls and figure patterns and such in highly figured woods. So recently, for some of my personal shamisen, I've made such Itomaki with highly figured woods. This is my 9th homemade shamisen made out of koa wood with bloodwood fingerboard, and it has amboina burl for the Itomaki. Looks incredible. And in this times of pandemic lockdowns and whatnot, I thought, why not give this kind of fun stuff, have it accessible to the public? Why not? And so we did, together with my trusty friend and student guy, Christopher Took, who made the body mechanics lesson course thing in the schoolhouse. Together, we've been making these Bachido Elite Itomaki, or for easier tongue work, Elitomaki. Without further ado, check out the sampling we have so far. Shwing! For the current batch here, we've got highly figured kokobolo, super high figured curly acacia, a very high figured amboina burl, complete with some very unique sap work, more kokobolo, and some other types not even shown here in this small chair-sized display. Burls and curly woods, those come from my good friend Ben Greenberg over at greenbergwoods.com. He's a fellow I do so admire. We both got into our passions very early. Me, 13, 14, getting into shamisen. Him, a similar age, working with highly figured woods and finding that's where his passion lies. And he cares very deeply about ecological sustainability and such. So I feel really good about using these woods, knowing they either aren't endangered or the ones that are, they were, scavenged basically from basements, cellars, places where the wood has just been sitting there for 60 years, forgotten basically. So in a way recycled. So that's stuff I feel really good about. The tips of the Itomaki here, normally those are made from ebony. However, because we've got something super special, I switched to African blackwood. Blackwood is much harder than ebony and even more stable. There's less chance of cracking, and because it's harder, they won't get worn down nearly as quickly. Fun fact, for all shamisen, turning it's held in with friction, and that friction, it wears down the wood. So, after, 5, 10, or plus years, depending on how much you play, those Itomaki will just have to be relathed or just sanded. It's not difficult. It just requires some sandpaper and just, tapering again. So it's not a big deal. But blackwood is even harder, so those will stay true much, much, much longer, I think. Another cool feature about these Itomaki, the pegs are pre-tapered. Long story short, Itomaki are not plug and play. For example, if it was sold like this, fully done, if it was put into another shamisen, the zagane might be just slightly too big, and then this would be loose and not fit. It would just slip out. To accommodate for this, Tokiwagaki, who makes 95% of the Itomaki in Japan, they sell the Itomaki with a peg thicker. And from there, the craftsman who's putting in the Itomaki, they'll taper it on their own to ensure the fit is tight. It's not that hard, it just takes time. So without a lathe, it can take hours and hours to get this thin enough to fit in. What we've done here is tapered it even more so that basically about 75% of the work is done. It just requires some sanding with 120 grit up to ideally 2000, but 800 would be fine, just to get the tightest fit. So with this, when we put it in, it has to go in maybe 5 more millimeters. So it's close. Normally with the blank semi-pre-shaped Itomaki, it'll only go into about here. And it takes a lot of time to get this far. So we've done most of the work, much less for you to do. How convenient is that? It still does take time and requires great care. It's not that hard, but it can be easy to sand too much. So I have instructions for how to do it yourself, but I also offer the professional service. Just ship in your tenjin. I'll get it just the perfect fit, drill the holes so you have nothing to do extra. Yeah. One final thing, these Itomaki take a lot of time to make, so what we have here is just a small sampling of what's to come. So go to the page linked in the description below, check out the sets available, and keep tuning in because more will be coming. Finally, these are all so unique. Goodness, you can really have something that just fits you. How cool is that? I think so, greatly.